Hiding in plain sight on a dusty corner of this remote West Texas town, the Blackwell School stands as a lasting reminder of what Mexican American students endured during decades of segregation.
This is a school that was where Hispanics attended. We were segregated, Anglos in one side of town and the Hispanics in the other.
Opened in 1909 as a 3-room Mexican school, Blackwell expanded to a half-dozen buildings, educating over 4,000 before it closed in 1965. Silva's favorite English teacher, Mrs. Evelyn Davis, organized the mock funeral for Mr. Spanish.
I began the first grade. Must have been the first or second day of school. A teacher from another classroom went into my classroom, wrote the word Spanish on the blackboard, passed out a piece of paper to each student, and asked us to copy the letters on the blackboard. We each did what she asked. They were collected and put into this box. They marched us out to the flagpole area where they had already dug a hole, and when all the classes were assembled outside, they buried that box. And because everyone had wrote the word Spanish in their own piece of paper, they buried Mr. Spanish and told us from that day on we were not allowed to speak Spanish in school.
Later that day, one of Silva's older classmates vowed, "Nadie me va a quitar que hable el español. No one will take my Spanish away." A teacher overheard, and the 4th grader got paddled, as more would in years to come.
One of the students said, this is not going to stop me from speaking Spanish. She was overheard by a teacher. She was marched into the office, to the principal's office, and they used what they call the paddle on her. Whipped her 3 times, and that was a form of discipline. You will not speak Spanish in school, otherwise this is what's going to happen to you. Intimidation. That way, we learned. From that day on, we were not to speak Spanish in school.
Across the Southwest, former segregated schools for Mexican Americans have been converted into office buildings and community centers, or abandoned.
This was the segregated school for Mexican American children here all the way up until 1965 when Marfa schools were integrated. And today we're preserving this 1909 schoolhouse as a museum with the hopes that we can make it a National Historic Site. Schools like the Blackwell School, schools for Mexican children in Texas were ubiquitous. So many communities had these schools. But today, we're the only ones with the original building in good condition and an organization working to preserve it as a museum. Some of these schools have been repurposed into office buildings and things like that, but we have a real opportunity here to not only tell the stories that are personal and local to Marfa, but really expand how we're telling these stories, because it's an experience that happened all over the borderlands that people really need to know about.
Unlike segregated schools for Black students, segregated schools for Latino students have yet to be designated National Historic Sites, part of the National Park System. With support from California Senator Alex Padilla and Texas Senator John Cornyn, the Senate is expected to pass legislation during Blackwell into the first national park of its kind. In December, when the House passed the bill, Democratic Representative Teresa Ledger Fernandez from New Mexico spoke about attending a similar segregated school.
This bill would direct the Secretary of the Interior to establish the Blackwell School National Historic Site to preserve, protect, and interpret the role of the Blackwell School as an academic and cultural cornerstone in Marfa, Texas. The Blackwell School was the sole public education institution for Mexican American children in Marfa from 1909 until 1965, when Marfa schools were integrated. The building is a tangible reminder of a time in American history when separate but equal remained so prevalent in our culture. Madam Speaker, I attended a school that was likewise in its history segregated, where Hispanos attended school on one side of the town and all others on the other side.
Silva became a medical assistant, settled in Stockton, and worked at a Kaiser Permanente for 45 years before retiring to Marfa.
Well, several years ago, one of the boys that attended school here in Marfa, graduated from Blackwell in 1960, decided to have a class reunion. When people of Marfa learn about this, the former students of Blackwell says, hey, I want to attend this class reunion. During that time, during that event, we had already decided that Mr. Spanish was going to be unearthed, therefore giving us the Spanish language back into our everyday lives. What was taken from us is now being given back. We are now taking back. And the day of the event of the reunion, the girl that had been disciplined went up, and she was the one to unearth this Mr. Spanish. It was a symbol of, I guess, liberty, of freedom to speak our own language that we were brought up in at home. This was our language, and we had been deprived of it through what the teachers and the principals had decided to do. And that's what was happening by us unearthing Mr. Spanish.
And you still speak Spanish, your son speaks some Spanish, and your eldest grandson.
Yes, we speak Spanish. We are bilingual at home.